Will, there's no music coming through at all. You know that.
I got the
You're on
message.
mute. Okay.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
How nice, huh? Let's see. All right. I think we have a full house. So welcome all of you. Can you hear okay? Great, wonderful.
Yes.
I'm just so happy to have you all here. I see we have Okello Michael from Uganda with us as well, which is wonderful. So yes, say hi, Michael. And Sabra joined us, great. So thank you all so much for coming. We have so much to celebrate tonight. You know, we usually have an international potluck on this night, and we can't do that. But that's okay, because we can still meet in small groups using our Zoom tool and talk with people just like we were at the dinner table. So that's what we're going to do tonight, and for parts of the meeting. And I hope you all know that at the bottom of your Zoom, if you move your mouse just a little, you'll see there's a chat box. And open up the chat box, and you'll be able to get messages, and you can ask us questions, and you can get links that we send to you. Okay? So everybody open up their chat box, and we'll use this to communicate. And let's see, did Terri Moss get on? I haven't seen Terri yet. There she is. Yes, yay, Terri.
I'm here.
Thank you. Well, I want Terri to open us up with our traditional opening, and that is by saying our covenant. Please, Terri.
Yes. The governing board and the elected council build and provide a sacred environment that will nurture the growth towards a world of interfaith peace. In solidarity with one another, we each affirm our dialogue is an interfaith dialogue. We all have different communication styles and varying views. We commit to be in dialogue with respect for all, expanding listening to hear multiple points of view. We realize that we are responsible for the growth of I4C, and each of us shares a duty to interfaith growth. The governing board provides leadership, and the elected council works towards progress and the fulfillment of I4C goals as we grow. We recognize that we are imbued with interfaith responsibility. As such, we commit to hold ourselves and each other accountable to merit that trust. Respect for the diverse traditions, beliefs, and spiritual paths of all hold ourselves to the highest ethical standards and accountable to our communities and to I4C.
Thank you, Terri. Terry's our vice president on the governing board. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Will, because we want to start with a little icebreaker and get to know the people at our table. And I know, so Will has broken us up into tables. And Will, you want to tell people about it?
Yeah, we've got a little bit here. It's in your annual report, which came by PDF for you as well. And we're going to be breaking into small groups, 3 or 4 people. And we want you to share 1 to 3 things that you know that other folks may not know about your faith tradition. We all might have different answers to that. So that's a part of the fun. And then also name 1 blessing that has come from COVID. And we're hoping that this is a big, diverse conversation as well. But we're going to be moving you in right now, and we'll be coming together, and you'll have a 1-minute notice when we are coming back into the larger room for the rest of our program. So please follow the link that's going to show up on your screen, and encourage you to go and then we'll try to get back by 7:18.
And you need to hit the join button. So hit join.
Please hit the join button. Meet some new friends. Friends, if you're still with me, that means you haven't hit the button to join one of the other rooms, and there's enough of us here that if you'd like, we can answer the two questions ourselves. You want to unmute yourself and introduce yourself, Erica?
Hi, Will. I'm Erica. Sorry I didn't make it in time to get into the rooms.
It's okay. We'll hang out here with the other folks. What are 1 to 3 things that others may not know about your faith tradition?
1, 2, 2, 3. Am I answering the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I might have to run to another group. Let me see if I can come back in just a minute.
Okay.
Ashley, I can hear you.
Hi, Carolyn. Do you have a question that you need some help with?
I will.
Hi.
So we're talking about what's one blessing that our faith, that we have in our faith that no one else knows. The other question was, what are you grateful for in COVID?
Yeah.
What are you grateful? Okay, I'll start. For COVID, the COVID question, I'm grateful for my health. I had to stay in the hospital and had to kind of, I feel like over the months, COVID was kind of overwhelming. So once I kind of came back from the hospital, I was able to do about 3 weeks of self-care and really take care of myself and really kind of get back on a better track. I'm really grateful for that time that I had during COVID to assess my health and work on it in a positive and motivated and meaningful way.
I can go next. Should I start?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm very grateful for food on the table, and we have jobs in this place, so we have food on the table. I think I'm really, really grateful for that, because I notice how people have lost jobs, and we are putting. In fact, everybody is now giving money and food and supporting organization and stuff who are providing food for people. So I'm very lucky, and I really appreciate that I'm one of the ones who can provide the money or the food, or put food on my own table.
What is it? Just you and I that are in this breakout group, Sarah?
There were 3 more people. I just checked. I can tell you who's else there. There's Will is supposed to be here. Oh, I think he's.
I'm here too, but I've been moving some people around to different groups if they haven't moved. But Ashley, if you want to go ahead, please go.
Oh, where do I go? What the next question?
Oh, the questions are: share 1 to 3 things that another person may not know about your faith tradition, and what is one of the blessings that has come from COVID. And
Okay,
maybe while you're thinking
I'll-
about it, if you want, I can go.
Yeah, go ahead, Will.
She actually did the first question. She already answered the first question.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, go ahead.
Great. So for me, let me assign, Carolyn's trying to get back in. Let me assign her back to this room. Let's bring her back if that'll work. So one of the good things for me is that I used to drive all over the place for work, to be in meetings in Danville and Antioch and Richmond and Martinez and Concord, and it was really hard for me to lose weight, especially eating on the road. But I've been able to stay on a diet for the last couple of months, and I've lost about 25 pounds. So that's one of the blessings of COVID.
Well, I've gained weight, so it's not.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
That's great. Absolutely.
I've gained weight as well. I'd say either stayed the same or gained a little in the middle.
Yeah. I have to get back to I gained a little bit, but I need to get back to my weight,
Okay, so the next question. So what are 1 to 3 spiritual practices that people
Or
don't know
just
about?
something that other people may not know about your faith tradition.
I would say in my faith tradition, personally, that there's fluidity. I think with, I like to practice open acceptance to fluidity. And when it comes to personality, and,
I can't hear you. I don't know what's.
Oh, okay. And then I also have a prayer that I say, the same prayer the same prayer, and also a prophecy about people and religion, spiritualities. That's mine.
Do you want me to go next?
Please.
Okay. One of the things in my religion that people don't realize is that in this religion, women have the right to own their own money. They have the right to inheritance. They've always had it. This is 1400 years ago. And if a husband and a wife team, if the wife is working, the money of the wife is her money, and the money of the husband is supposed to run the household. She doesn't have to share that money. Okay. So this is one of the things, and the other thing is that the second thing I'm telling you is because it's a very popular belief in the world that this is what Muslims do. But in Muslims, you are not supposed to be an aggressor. You can protect yourself, but you cannot break out wars. You can fight with people for the reason to save your religion or to save, like an area of yours that people are attacking. And then it's against for protection. But you cannot be the aggressor for no reason. That's what it is. I just want to tell you that. And they are there.
And we lost Ashley. Oh, she must have had an internet malfunction. Hopefully she'll come back soon.
Okay. So there's just the two of us.
I'm glad you're joining the elected council. This is going to be good.
Thank you, Will. I don't know how good my resume was. I didn't know what else to put in there, so I just put in what I thought was.
Yeah, it was good. I didn't know some of those things about you, so that's really good.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I'm glad.
We're going to come back in a couple minutes here, but in the meantime, there's a couple people that I've tried to assign to this room that just haven't hit the button. So,
you want to go back and send them a note or something, or a text or something?
I don't know.
Yeah, actually, they might not even know where to check for chats and all that stuff. They don't. They don't have that.
Yeah, it's not letting me even move them to.
Okay. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Yeah,
good,
it's been a big full day, but it's been good.
Yeah, that's good.
Had a fun church, got some laundry done, got my Ricky Bobby. This is my dog right here. You see Ricky Bobby?
Oh, really? I was wondering what that was. I can't. I'm looking at my phone screen, so I can't see too much. It's tiny, so I wasn't sure what that's your dog. Oh,
yeah, he's Ricky Bobby, the fastest Chihuahua in the West.
That's neat.
Yeah, so life is good.
I'm amazed at how things change with COVID, and yet, we should be so thankful because we are doing fine. we have our health, and we have, food, and I mean, just all over. I think life has slowed down a little bit. I think we were going too crazy with, like you said, you were going from Antioch to, oh, now I see him. I see Ricky Bobby move around, so now I know. Yeah. So I think this is a blessing in disguise in a way. Families are together, but I mean, there are hard things that are going on. Schools is very hard for kids. Oh.
Fred, you made it? I tried to put you in a breakout room, and Linda and others, but we have everyone coming back right now. And we're going to just play a little music while we can, and welcome each other back into the large room. We ask you to mute yourself. We're so grateful for the recordings of the Singing Messengers, and I'm Reverend Will McGarvey, and we're glad that you're here with us. I'm going to run through a lot of our 2020 accomplishments, and one of the big ones has been the big shift into from a pre-COVID world to a post-COVID world. And this is what our elected council meetings would normally look like as we meet in the fellowship hall at Hillcrest Congregational, where we office. There's also been really good programming that a Rossmore Interfaith Council has been putting on in Rossmore, and we were able to do a really good program on the United Nations Human Rights Day, December 10th, on understanding Kashmir and the plight of the Uyghurs. And when we didn't understand enough to have a dialogue about this during one of our meetings, we decided, let's have an educational program. So Mount Diablo UU Church helped us, and we were able to have some speakers like Reverend Victor Kazanjian, who's going to be speaking later tonight, giving our keynote, as well as some folks from the region that really understand the plight of the folks in that area. And so that's one of our roles is education, but we've also been a big part of the Poor People's Campaign, and this was one of the Bay Area rallies with Reverend Dr. William Barber at Glide Church in San Francisco. And of course, I serve Interfaith San Ramon Valley. Just 11 months this time, was lighting the Hanukkah candles, and religious leaders from many different congregations coming together for that. And of course, we were part of the Women's March and had a table there, and put on an interfaith service with Rabbi Nikki from Temple Isaiah before the Women's March. And our ICANN group had a great table there, and they've been doing great advocacy all year. But keeping the witness of the faith community has been an important piece as well. On Martin Luther King Day, we had a witness before the service at noon, and people could bring out their Black Lives Matter signs and be able to help get folks to join us. And we had Dr. Toinette Eugene, one of the professors from the seminary where Dr. King attended, preaching at our SOJA's MLK Day service. And Rabbi Dan gave a great benediction that day as well, Reverend Julius gave a sermon that afternoon at San Ramon Valley United Methodist for their MLK event. There was a Witness Our Welcome interfaith service for the open and affirming congregations. And we were able to help Winter Nights be able to gather 13 East County congregations to co-host in East County this year. And one of those congregations was a new one, the East Bay Church. Brought their mobile showers every Sunday afternoon for the clients. They operated a parking lot program for most of the year through May, and even had help from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints missionaries who helped with the load in and load out for the 8 weeks that they did in February in East County. July 1st, we launched Winter Nights Family Shelter as an independent nonprofit. And so thanks to Judy Stillman, who is here with us, they're doing a really great job. And they started and opened their shelter even under COVID restrictions on November 2nd. Their website's the same, so check them out and volunteer with them. The other big thing that we've been doing the last couple of years are our retreats. And we did 8 retreats last year on the 12 Steps to a Life of Compassion, and we did 4 retreats this year on the spirituality of protecting and honoring Mother Earth. And we did the first one at San Damiano, but then after the restrictions, we did the rest online. In fact, our last event that we did before the restrictions came into play was March 8th, and it was International Women's Day, and we had a great panel that Terri Moss, our vice chair, moderated with Pastor Johanna Wagner, Kate Boisvert, Eartha Newsong, Bushra Gill, and Courtney Cummings, all talking about their faith journeys. And of course, everything changed, even our faith traditions, when COVID came. We had to think about how do we encourage people to wash their hands? How do we think about sharing, even toilet paper? How do we pray for one another? How do we recognize the needs as so many people around the world were dying? And how do we raise our voices, especially for those that are incarcerated, so that their time in jail doesn't become a death sentence? It really has been an amazing season for us with the lockdown, but also looking back to how our forebears in faith made do 100 years ago when the Spanish flu was creating very, very similar societal response. And a lot of the ways that we have been able to see the response around the world has been important as well. But it's also reminded us of all that we've lost. And even tonight, not being able to have our interfaith potluck, which is usually so great, and something I look forward to a large part of the year, has made us think about what is this new normal. And if we get a chance to rethink what is the new normal, maybe we can create a better world out of it. So one of the ways that we adapted was having meaningful Monday gatherings online every week on Monday. And these have been fascinating, deep interfaith dialogues with different people showing up every week, speaking from their own social location and faith tradition, and being able to talk about what matters most. We've moved our elected council meetings online as well. Even Reverend Channing Miller got ordained with the Chaplaincy Institute online. So all of our programming has moved online, but that also means that we've been able to expand a lot of the recordings that we have on our Interfaith Council's YouTube channel. And if you look through here, some of these meetings are like our elected council meetings. We also did some interviews with folks from different traditions. We were able to do big questions with the Rossmore Interfaith, and even some interviews with some of our regional partners like Tamil Sharma with the United Religions Initiative. We were also able to do some of the vigils and the Black Lives Matter kinds of programming that we have wanted to do for some time. Ben Jones was able to share a meditation with his singing bowls. And we even put our International Day of Peace program online, and information about our new ICARE program that you're going to hear about in just a minute. But we were even able to co-host an event with SOJA, the Interfaith Council, the United Nations Model UN Club at DVC, and Mount Diablo Peace and Justice Center on a commemoration of the 75th anniversary of the United Nations. And there's a link here. If you like that link, you're more than welcome to use that. It's a little easier than the big long one that YouTube gives us. But all of the programming that we've done has tried to be in response to all of the needs going on in our world. And we've done white fragility book studies with our board. We've been able to come together and encourage congregations to do a 21-day racial equity challenge. We hosted an interfaith vigil for those who have lost loved ones on May 1st. We did a Black Lives Are Sacred vigil on June 8th. Learning about Juneteenth event on the day before. Reverend Dr. Dale Weatherspoon led a program on cultural mindfulness and cultural competency to help us. And since then, we've been able to focus more, since we got a small grant from the Lesher Foundation to bring in more teachers like Reverend Shonda Jaw, who did a great presentation, one of the best ones I've seen, on systemic racism. What does it take to take on the system? These are all recordings that are on our YouTube channel already. And the next in our series of anti-racism trainings will be in a couple weeks on November 18th at 7 p.m. with Fresh Lev White on easing suffering with self-compassion, becoming more available to others. Of course, we're going to do our Interfaith Thanksgiving service, but instead of different ones at different regions, we're trying to bring a lot of the different groups together, including Interfaith Council, Multi-Faith Action, and Faith in Action, and their C5 Clergy Caucus for Sunday, November 22nd at 4 o'clock. And then we're offering an I4C implicit bias training with Fresh Love White coming back on January 31st for an afternoon of understanding our own implicit bias. So those are all the kinds of programs we've been doing this year, and we're going to have a short video here about our Interfaith Juvenile Chaplaincy and iChange with Reverend Julius Van Hook.
Reverend Julius Van Hook here, 2020 in review. Oh, what a year. Reflecting on all that we've experienced in 2020, I can honestly say that I am grateful. We have been able to continue our chaplaincy ministry, servicing the juvenile hall there in Martinez, as well as the Ord Allen Youth Rehabilitation Facility, also known as the Byron Boys Ranch there in Byron. As a result of COVID, things got quite interesting, and we had to come up with a variety of ways to provide ministry to the young people that we serve. So we established something that we call the Pen Pal program. And that program, we send letters of encouragement, notes, and cards into the facility to continue to be emotional support and spiritual support to the young people that we serve. We have also gotten more volunteers from different places and other things of that nature. We have a new committee called iChange. We are working to support my mission as the chaplain. This group of people is a diverse group of wonderful, committed people who are coming up with a mentoring program so that we can help with reentry and aftercare. So much looking forward to that. I invite you to be a part, be a mentor, learn more about the iChange initiative and the iChange committee for the Interfaith Council of Contra Costa County. We're looking forward to great things. We're looking forward to helping more young people to have their tattoos removed with our tattoo removal program. We're looking forward to our alliance with Reverend Tinsley's Getting Out of Dodge program to continue to help young people to get a new lease on life and do something different, to move forward and become all that they can be. I would like to thank the Interfaith Council, all of the governing board members, as well as the elected council members and our partners for continuing to support the work of chaplaincy. And I want you to know that your giving and your support is not, has not, and will not be in vain. Thank you. God bless, and Ashe.
Ashe, Reverend Julius. If you want to join this new committee that's just getting organized, you can talk to Reverend Julius, Margaret Niles, or myself. They're meeting the first Thursday of the month at 3:30 on Zoom. Next is the Social Justice Alliance report. We now have a report from our Social Justice Alliance, and we'll be hearing from Christina Martin and Joe Kerner, who serve as co-chairs, and appreciate all the good work that you do. Take it away, Christina.
Thank you, Will. The Social Justice Alliance group has had quite a year. As usual, we began with January's Martin Luther King Day celebration at Walnut Creek Presbyterian Church. In February, our beloved leaders, Dolores Logue and Gwen Watson, announced their retirements. Our March meeting was planned to discuss how to move forward and which roles would be assigned to whom. The March and then April meetings, however, were canceled because of the pandemic and shelter-in-place rules. In May, we held our first Zoom meeting, and quite a few new people attended, some even from Sacramento. Still struggling with organizational issues, we welcomed each other and talked about this new world in which we found ourselves. Then came statistics regarding the sick and dying of COVID, the murder of George Floyd right before our eyes, the demonstrations and local protests. At our June meeting, a group from Concord attended, asking us to join the movement to defund the Concord police. Suddenly, social justice had become a local and national rallying cry. For those of you that may not know, our Martin Luther King celebration had its roots in a gathering called together directly on the heels of the Rodney King riots in Los Angeles in 1992. The day after the riots had begun, pastors from 3 congregations in Walnut Creek gathered with about 30 church members to agonize about the racial violence ripping apart Los Angeles and to agree together that Los Angeles' pain was in some measure our own. This group agreed to explore their roles in the issues that created agony and injustices in our communities. Unfortunately, here we are facing the same injustices almost 30 years later. Progress feels much too slow. However, we must continue to press forward our goal for racial justice, respect, and love.
So we did. At our June meeting, we decided to appoint a committee to compose and send a letter to local officials supporting Black Lives Matter and condemning police violence. The Interfaith Council approved the letter and signed on with SOJA. Possibly as a result of the letter, some SOJA members were invited to participate in a Zoom dialogue between local clergy and Walnut Creek's mayor, city manager, and a police force representative about protests and violence. Our July meeting was an educational session on police tactics for handling crowds and criminals. Earlier in the year, we had invited Carolyn MacKenzie to speak on nuclear disarmament at our August meeting, because this year is the 75th anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In September, SOJA co-sponsored an International Day of Peace program with the Peace and Justice Center. And in October, a SOJA member arranged a Zoom meeting to commemorate the United Nations 75th anniversary. SOJA is now planning our annual Martin Luther King Day again. Celebration will be held on January 18th, 2021. It will also be online on Zoom. Throughout this year, SOJA has been developing a group leadership style of governance, continuing the democratic example of our former co-leaders, Gwen Watson and Dolores Logue. Several of us, besides Tina and myself, have taken on the duties of the organization, helping to take minutes and lead meetings and represent us at Interfaith Council. We'll honor and thank both Dolores Logue and Gwen Watson at our November meeting this coming Wednesday with certificates of appreciation. SOJA continues to hold monthly meetings. The agenda always includes other local groups whose activities touch on social justice issues, and we look for opportunities to support these groups. Our meetings also leave space to discuss new local and national and international concerns as they arise, and time to follow up on open subjects, which this year include Black Lives Matter and local police practices. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe and Christina. And Reverend Julius Van Hook will be the preacher at the MLK Day service on January 18th at noon online. Marjorie Musante is the director of our Singing Messengers, and here is her report.
Hello, Interfaith Council members. I'm Marjorie Musante, director of the Singing Messengers. Last March, with the sudden advent of COVID-19, our mission of healing through music was abruptly halted in all 57 facilities we serve throughout Contra Costa County. Our organization held a meeting to discuss future plans. We had to make difficult decisions. Then we needed to inform our nursing homes. Our facilities letter began, "To our family of Singing Messengers senior facilities and their hardworking activities directors. Due to the pandemic, I'm guessing this is a very stressful time for you and your residents. I can't imagine the heroic work you must be accomplishing every day. We are so grateful to you for your loving care of our cherished residents, who continue to be in our thoughts and prayers. We have truly missed visiting your facilities and singing with your clients. The Singing Messengers look forward to resuming our musical season with you, but as of now, that happy reunion seems a long way off. So let's hear about our current situation. Right now, our patients are generally restricted to their rooms, unable to socialize, attend activities, or even enjoy a meal together. Most are not allowed to see their families except through glass and at a distance. All this has been devastating to the Singing Messengers as we are unable to continue our work. To further complicate our efforts, our members represent a vulnerable community who is trying to work with an even more vulnerable group of individuals. Naturally, we cannot safely meet in a choral setting right now to practice our music. We thought of doing virtual performances, but for us, the necessary technology to bring singers together in performance just wouldn't work for most of our singers. That is why we regretfully had to cancel our entire Singing Messengers season, fall, winter, and spring. We are eagerly looking forward to the day when our clients and members will have the access to safe and effective vaccine against COVID-19. Hopefully, we will be able to return in the fall. To that end, a team of us have been busily working on creating new programs, gathering costumes and props, even working out some of the choreography for the music. These activities help give us hope that we will again be able to meet with our clients. As all of us move forward through this pandemic, I'm sure I join each of you in working hard to find joy and meaning in each day, always remembering how blessed we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Marjorie. We appreciate your good work. One of the newest programs that we've just begun this year is called ICARE, Interfaith Community Action Revitalization. And we've been able to, Terri Moss is going to give us a report just briefly, but we've been able to hire Greg Kremenliev as our ICARE Outreach Coordinator. And so we want to give you his information. It's inside your annual report as well. So Terri, give us the takeaways about everything we can learn about ICARE today.
My pleasure. Hi, everyone. It's with great pleasure that I'll talk to you about ICARE that started in July as a thought. And our first project, our pilot project, was the one that you see right here, which was a coordinated effort between the Lafayette Orinda Presbyterian Church and Sufism Reoriented, where together in a highly orchestrated COVID-safe way, they bought and assembled hygiene kits, over 500, that also included compassionate notes of encouragement, and were distributed through the Contra Costa County Homeless Health and Home Housing Center. And so that was a tremendously successful project, and we learned from it, which was really important. The idea of ICARE is that it takes, we partner up with nonprofit organizations in the county to help them serve people in need. And the magic behind it is that we want to encourage interfaith relationship building. So we've created a Sign Up Genius program that is the focal point for congregations to come together and co-sponsor projects. This project that you're looking at was one that where Monument Crisis Center was looking for Thanksgiving fixings. And the Unity Church of Walnut Creek and the Islamic Center of Walnut Creek partnered together to provide many bags of Thanksgiving fixings. Another project that we have done was with Trinity Center, where they were wanting 300 breakfast bags a week. And so this is my favorite group, by the way, my Interfaith Women's Circle. And together we purchased and assembled, again, outside in someone's driveway, socially distanced, included notes of encouragement, over 300 breakfast bags. And there was another group, Women's Interfaith group, that also did another 300 plus breakfast bags. So we also have other projects coming up, and this is the next one is going to be Shelter Inc., before that, more hygiene kits. It's a cooperative, massive project between the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and Temple Isaiah in the north, and Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and a church in San Ramon, and I'm sorry, I don't remember which one, putting together 1,000 hygiene kits. That's going to be happening next week. We then have another project with Shelter Inc., where we'll be collecting either gift cards or clothing for their children and adults. And then in January and February, we're going to be working with Opportunity Junction to do informational interview fair and interviewing skills. And then finally in March, at least for now, Habitat for Humanity, helping them with their projects. So here's how we would love to have your engagement. We need two congregations to co-sponsor a project. And once we have that, then we can open it up to all of our members to sign up and volunteer. And we encourage you to look at our Sign Up Genius. You can get that from our website. You may look forward to getting a call from Greg, who is going to be contacting our members to let you know about these projects and encourage you to participate. The interfaith experience really is enriching, not only for your own, being able to share your own faith with other people. You learn about other people's faiths from people that you may not have otherwise been in contact with. And one thing that all of our faith traditions share is a love and need and valuing of service. So I want to thank all of you for your participation so far, and for all of you who will be participating. Keep track of what's going on in our e-blasts, going onto our website, and check out Sign Up Genius. Thank you.
Thanks to Terri for the idea of ICARE and for help getting it started. Next, we're going to hear from Ken Sargent, our treasurer.
Good evening, everyone. As Will just mentioned, I'm Ken Sargent, the treasurer of I4C, and I want to share a couple comments about context in terms of our appeal for you tonight. As most of you know, most not-for-profits have struggled somewhat during 2020 with COVID. And I4C is no a stranger to that struggle. We've also had that same kind of struggle. The challenge is to keep on serving our members and also get sufficient donations in to support the organization, because the only way that we're able to fund ourselves is from donations. And I must tell you that our donations this year are down. At the same time, we had a major change in the organization this last year when we cut back significantly on our operations as Winter Nights went out on their own. They're doing well, I'm pleased to report, and we're pleased by that. But it is a significant change for the organization. And therefore, as I make my appeal, I want to tell you that the governing board is well aware that we make an appeal almost every year at this time, and they decided to spice things up a little bit by asking all the members of the governing board to put together a challenge fund for others in the organization who might be willing to give us donations. And so we have gone and done that. And we hope that you will feel that you are able to respond to that challenge tonight and match the efforts of the governing board in putting together funds to help bring I4C to a more stable position financially. I do want you to prayerfully consider this, and I hope that you're able to give. If you are able to give, we would ask that you send your donations to I4C at 404 Gregory Lane in Pleasant Hill, 94523. And I also want to say thank you so much for what you do to support us. It means a great deal to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. And now we're moving into our keynote speech by Reverend Victor Kazanjian of the United Religions Initiative, whose offices are in San Francisco. And we are one of the first cooperation circles of URI. And you'll hear a little bit more about the context. Take it away, Victor.
Greetings, sisters and brothers of I4C. And thank you so much, Carolyn, Will, members of the governing board and elected council, and all members of the Interfaith Council of Contra Costa County for inviting me to speak with you this evening. The Interfaith Council is now one of almost 1,100 URI cooperation circles in 110 countries around the world. As the Interfaith Council was one of URI's first cooperation circles at its founding in 2000, it's a particular honor for me to be with you this evening for your annual meeting. On behalf of URI, we also offer our congratulations to the Interfaith Council's Making a Difference awardees, as well as to the newly elected members of the elected council and the governing board. The Interfaith Council's work through extraordinary programs like Interfaith Election Healing, Meaningful Monday, Confronting Systemic Racism Together, and ICARE reflects the extraordinary work being done by I4C and URI's cooperation circles around the world, working to make a difference in their communities. Thank you for all your important work, and particularly in these most challenging times. We are certainly living in such a complicated time in this country and in our world. These past 4 years and these past 4 days have tested and tried the heart and soul of America. Mostly, I have found myself deeply sad, angry at times, but mostly sad about the loss of life, livelihood, liberties, human rights, equal rights, civility, rationality, perspective, connection, and community. The loss of trust in elected officials and political and judicial systems, and the apparent loss of the dream of a unified, beloved community. That's a lot of loss. And this loss transcends political affiliation. That much loss is traumatic for individuals, communities, and societies. And the resulting trauma, which is similar to that of growing up in a household with a violently abusive parent, if left untreated, leads to sickness and psychosis. We are living in a traumatized country, rife with social sickness and societal psychosis that is evoking alienation and isolation, leading some to despair and depression, and others to fear and rage. This social sickness has been provoked by, and I would say carefully crafted, by a group of anti-democracy politicians who believe this to be the way to manipulate enough of the general population for their own selfish ends. There is precedent for this. It is straight out of the dictator's playbook in places like Nazi Germany, British-ruled India, and apartheid South Africa. As a grandchild of the Armenian genocide, it would be a betrayal of my family's legacy if I were to fail to speak to this rise of totalitarianism in the United States, a situation that has historically preceded mass atrocities and even genocides around the world. The common theme of these moments of madness, historical and contemporary, is the manipulation of people who have experienced great loss. This manipulation works because when grief goes unattended, that grief then becomes grievance, grief to grievance. And it is grievance that then is manipulated. In our country, our grief from the losses we feel has turned to grievance for many, and it is that which we must address if we are to begin a process towards healing and transformation. What has struck me as particularly important in this time of history for our work of peace building and justice seeking in interfaith movements such as URI and I4C is that the power behind our work is less about politics and strategy than it is about relationships, connection, and consciousness. After 3 decades of work as a community organizer, educator, and grassroots activist, I have become convinced that without the power provided by love, compassion, and empathy, the most sophisticated strategies for social change are but hollow branches bracing against the furious winds of injustice and violence. Alienation, isolation, fear, and rage are what fuels violence, and violence against people or planet requires dehumanization and objectification. We know this in both interpersonal and geopolitical contexts. To harm you, to violate your humanity, I must first dehumanize you, turning you into an object to be used for my ends. That has been the whole strategy behind the Trump movement, to dehumanize large portions of the population of this country and the world, so that his followers will not consider the humanity of others, and will objectify the earth so that they can continue to rape and pillage the planet. Therefore, I would submit that the essential component of all interfaith peace building and justice seeking is the rehumanizing, de-objectifying power of love, compassion, and empathy. In spiritual terms, it is making sacred, once again, that which has been desecrated. Dr. Howard Thurman, mystic and teacher in the African American Christian tradition, and my spiritual mentor, speaks to this process in this poem about wholeness. He writes, "There is a sense of wholeness at the core of humanity that must abound in all we do, that marks with reverence our every step, that has its sway when all else fails, that wearies out all evil things, that warms the depths of frozen fears, making friend of foe, and lasts beyond the living and the dead, beyond the goals of peace, the ends of war. This we seek through all our years, to be complete and of one piece within and without. Weary out all evil things, warm the depths of frozen fears, make friend of foe. Seek to be complete and of one piece within and without." That is what we are challenged to do today. To go beyond familiar conversations about the divisions of red and blue states and changing the political landscape through merely instrumental means, and open, gently open to the places of loss, pain, and grief with actions that are based on the values of love, compassion, and empathy, and are rooted in the spiritual principles that ground our common life on this planet. Albert Einstein spoke of such a process. He wrote these words reflecting on the death of a child, of a dear friend. A human being is spatially and temporally limited piece of the whole world, what we call the universe. That person experiences themselves, their thoughts and feelings as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of their consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison, restricting us from our own desires and affections.
Amen. It wouldn't be a Zoom meeting if we didn't have some technical difficulties. Carolyn? Of course. Here we go. We want to start with Ton Hall, who is the mother of Miles Hall, for whom the Miles Hall Foundation and the Friends of Scott and Ton Hall are named. And we have a video from her, but I want to just read a portion of what was in your annual report, because she was nominated by the governing board of the Interfaith Council and leadership in keeping the needs of the racial justice and mental health communities at the forefront of Contra Costa and Walnut Creek city leaders. Her persistent witness for the needs of those living with mental health challenges, and especially your desire to never see another young person be killed by the public servants who should be protecting them and serving them, is a testament to both the mother's love and the care of each of us expects our public officials to give in the public sphere. May Miles' memory forever be a blessing. We have a video from Ton, who wasn't able to be here tonight. Amen. And our second recipient tonight is Miss Gigi Crowder and NAMI Contra Costa. Gigi has been keeping the needs of the racial justice and mental health communities at the forefront, not only in Walnut Creek, but throughout all of Contra Costa County as well. And their programs literally save lives. And one of the favorite things that I have that Gigi has instilled here just in the last few years is a conference on spirituality and mental health, and encouraging faith leaders to come together to think about the ways either our scriptures or either our tradition or even people in our congregations talk about mental health and how that affects or how it can have the effect of stigmatizing people that are living with mental health in our different cultures and the different cultures within our communities. So we give thanks for Gigi Crowder, and we want to give her a chance to say some words in person in the faith community. So we wanted to share this picture with Gigi and Ton with their awards. And now we're moving into the agency and countywide awards. And it's almost unheard of that we do this for 3 agencies, but we felt like we needed to, with especially these 3 agencies that were serving so many homeless during COVID-19. And you may not know this, but GRIP is not only operating its own shelter in Richmond and some of the transitional housing that they've been working on, and all of their food and other programming that they do, but they're also running the Richmond Courtyard Marriott with 200 people that were formerly living without shelter or being served there because of GRIP. Terri, were you going to share something? Okay. Then let's open it up for our congregations in West County are doing their work through you. Thank you so much, Kathleen Sullivan. Next is the Trinity Center, and we're going to have Leslie Gleason, who's going to come share a few words. Here's the picture we took with her board president and her staff at the Trinity Center, which continues to be in operation even now. Because your space is amazing, and there's a great new courtyard between Trinity Center and St. Paul's Episcopal Church. Yeah. Terri Moss is going to share a little bit about the ICARE program and how it's been working for both Trinity Center and Monument Crisis Center. Sandra couldn't be with us, so Sandra and Cheryl put together this recording. And thank you. And the picture that's inside of our annual report in front of the Thanksgiving is the food that was donated by Unity of Walnut Creek and by the Walnut Creek Islamic Center. Carolyn MacKenzie is going to move us into our election of our new elected council members. Sharif Zadeh, and let's wait to do the hand waving until we're finished with the brief introductions with the slides. And then we'll turn it back to our gala review. Thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of tonight. If you missed the link to donate to our work, it's our regular Interfaith ccc.org website/donate. And the information for Greg is on there as well. We thank you for being a part of our meeting today, and we'll have one postlude piece of music from the Singing Messengers. Thank you. Amen. We hope that we'll be able to be together